Good evening, everybody. It is that time. It's time for Treasure Tales. My name's Jeff. Glad as you're with us tonight. I see we've got a few people here. I don't know. There's nobody chatting yet, but that's okay. It's that time for Treasure Tales. We've got three pretty cool guests lined up tonight. It's got some really nice treasure tales for y'all. So, Finding Alabama, Jeremy, hello, my friend. How are you? I think you're probably up in Chazy, New York for Digstock with the Balberona man. And everybody up there, hopefully they're having a good time. And I think it kicks off tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not sure which, but I hope everybody finds a lot of goodies up there. Um, to go along with that trip. That should the opportunity you'll be there, you'll get to make a lot of friends, and it should be a real good time. So um, we hope that is the case. Oh, Jeremy's not there. He's got COVID at his house. Well, what are you going to do? Adele, you good looking thing, you, how are you? Glad to have you with me tonight. Adele Lampersky Rutherford, you are Adele. Uh, Let's see. Dan Graham. Hey, Danny. Uh, Pretty soon you'll be down the Treasure Coast with us. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. We've got a trip set up to Sebastian, Florida. I've rented a house down there, and it's going to be from like November 10th through the 15th. It'll be myself and Susan and uh, Mumbles Man Naylor and his wife, Danny Graham and his wife, and Rick Tumbleson and his wife. We're going to be down there for a week, and we're going to be hunting with Terry Shannon. But we're hosting a dinner. Well, I'm hosting a dinner. My wife and I are preparing a dinner in honor of Terry Shannon and Captain Fizz. Terry will be in residence with his wife Jean, and Captain Fizz will be there. I'm not sure if he's going to have a guest with him or not. That remains to be seen. But at any rate, we're having a nice dinner that night, and let me give you a little rundown of the menu. I'm going to make for an appetizer. I'm going to make a wild mushroom strudel with a Marcella pan sauce. And then I'm going to make a wild mushroom risotto and a roulade of pork loin. And then we're going to we'll have a salad, obviously. And we will have for dessert Susan sour cream pound cake and ice cream. So it'll be a real good time. We'll have cocktails at 6, dinner at 7, treasure tales at 8 o'clock. So what will happen is there may be some loose tongues. You just never know. But we at 8 o'clock, I'll start the show. We'll chit chat a little bit, and I will turn the camera around, and Carl will be there, and Terry and his wife, and Rick and Dan and Tim and myself. So we'll have a real good time. It's just like you'll be there with us and telling some treasure tales. And with Terry and Captain Fizz, you can bet there's going to be some good treasure tales. So that's kind of what we've got uh, set up to do. Let's see. Let me go scroll through the chat here, and to see Barry Sullivan. Actually, it's Barry O'Sullivan. Nice to see you. And a Facebook user. I can't. All I see is Facebook users. I get names from YouTube, but not from Facebook. I'm here, guys. I don't know who that would be, but hello. I'm glad you're here. Another one is saying hello from Facebook. The Mumbles Man is in the house. And Mike Mayo, glad to see you, Mike. Glad that you're here. Tell Trish we said hey, and don't let her out hunt you every time. Let's see. Already spoke to Adele. And there's another Facebook user says hello all. Finding Alabama, we already spoke to Jeremy. And hi, sir, from a Facebook user, and another Facebook user. And another one says, hello, Jeff. Hello to you. And Well, that's it so far that are announcing themselves in the chat. So we will, the people, our guests will be joining us in a little bit here. But I wanted to let you know about that special treasure tales coming up. It's going to be a real good time. We'll be hunting with Terry on the Treasure Coast for a few days to see what we can come up with, and hopefully we'll have good hunting weather. I mean, I don't care if it's there's a real heavy surf and coming out of the northeast. That'd be good, and a full moon. That would be really good. Get some extreme tides, take some sand away. Maybe we'll get lucky and find a little something. You never know. There's nothing I like better than to have the mumbles man make me mumble. Somebody's watching from the Philippines. Well, hello from to the Philippines. Ricky T in the house. Okay. And let's see. Somebody from Facebook says I made him hungry. Well, that's how it goes. What are you going to do? Anyway, touch base on a little something else. Um, is the Blue Spade Society. This is a little group we started with the Mumbles Man and my friend John David in his honor. And what it is, it's a group, and we've got a Facebook group page, and we do stream Treasure Talk and Treasure Tales live to the Blue Spade Society. And what it is in a nutshell, it is a group for metal detectorists or people with a handicap, a handicap or some kind of a disability. And they can be a lot of different kinds of disabilities. You don't have to be lame or on your deathbed to have a disability. It's just not the case. We've got a number of members that, had to retire from their job because of a disability, such as, let's say, vertigo. That's a disability. I'm serious, it is. And there can be all kinds of disabilities. If you know a veteran with a disability, PTSD, that's a very serious disability. Maybe there's a way that we can help them. In the Blue Spade Society, we have a mentorship program. If you want to mentor someone that's disabled in some way, or somebody that can get involved, find the group or get a hold of me, and we'll get you to become a member. It's pretty meaningful. Casey from Excalibur Shovels is a sponsor of the Blue Spade Society, and if you go to Excalibur Shovels and you want to buy one of those shovels, and they're the best shovels on the planet, I'm serious. You mentioned the Blue Spade Society. He will check and see that you are indeed a member, and if so, you get a nice discount on a shovel. And what we like is the Blue Spade, and that came about because John David, the one that was really created for, he has some serious disabilities, but it doesn't stop him from doing what he loves to do, which is metal detect. He loves the color blue, so he's got a blue car. He's got a walker that he uses that's blue. He's got a blue shaft for his Equinox that he got, and he even painted his coil blue. So we had the bright idea that, and we didn't tell him this, the Mumbles Man and myself, that we were going to paint our spades blue. We had a hunt set up, and we showed up, and John had no idea. And so we're getting ready, and we're standing there with our spades right in front of us, and he looks up, and he was just dumbfounded because we painted our spades blue in honor of John David, who he's got some disabilities, but he's out there and he's metal detecting, and he's not letting it stop him. And there's a lot of you that can do that. So we started the Blue Spade Society. That's what it's all about. If you want any more information on it, just get a hold of me. You can see my telephone number. You can text me, or you can PM me on Facebook Messenger, or if you're on Facebook, get a hold of me. And Also, Myers Metal Detectors is also a sponsor of the Blue Spade Society. So if you need any kind of gear at all, um, you get a hold of Myers Metal Detectors, tell him that you are a member of the Blue Spade Society, if indeed you are, and you get a discount there as well. So, Metal Sharks, hey guys, how are you? I hope you're doing good. Bruce Milligan, yeah, man, good to see you. You need to get on here. I know Plays in the Dirt, John David is here. Joe Vizzi, hey Joe, how are you? I'm just trying to scroll back here and see what's going. So Gary Kerr wants to know if Phil got an order. Well, I hope he got an order. If Phil Myers don't have it in stock, it's because it can't be gotten at the time. Um, So that's kind of the deal on the Blue Spade Society, and it's something that's very important to me and the Mumbles Man and to John David and any of you out there that have some kind of a disability and have been thinking about maybe way to get somebody out of the house. Maybe you've got a friend or a family member that is really depressed, and maybe you can get them out of the house, get them interested in something. But if they have a disability, we'd always encourage that you check with your doctor first to see that it is safe for you to do this physical activity. That's always the best case. If your if your proclivity doesn't let you do that and the doctor says no, then you have something else you need to worry about. But if there's anything we can do for you in the Blue Spade Society as far as help, suggestions, ideas, you'll find them there because there's a lot of people that are willing to help and want to help. So enough blathering from me. Charlie Broussard, how are you, man? You need to get with me and get on Treasure Tales, man. I know you find a lot of good treasure out there in Texas. And same with you, Metal Sharks. Jamie, you need to get up with me, get on the show. Any of y'all, you see my number down there is if you want to be on Treasure Tales, get up with me. I'm easy to get up with. You can text, you can email me at treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. You can Facebook Messenger me, do whatever. But if you have an interest in being on the show for 10, 15 minutes, and if this is your first time watching Treasure Tales, welcome and thank you, and I hope you enjoy the show. So we've got a couple, three people tonight, and we're going to get right into it. I know one just joined, and the other should be joining shortly, and we'll have three guests tonight. And I think they've got some really cool treasure tales between them that you will enjoy. And so, with no further ado, let's go ahead and bring uh, this first guest on. And the first guest we're with us tonight is Phil Faircloth. So let's bring Phil on and find out a little bit about him. Philip.
Hello, Jeff.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good for the shape I'm in.
Great. I've really been enjoying
Well, we're
y'all
awful
shows.
glad that you joined us tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad to
So,
be here. Glad to be
well, why
here.
don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? If you
Okay.
have a YouTube channel and the type of hunting you do, the equipment you use, and then we'll get into a couple of treasure tales.
Okay. I don't have a YouTube channel yet. Maybe one of these days. You never know. I don't. I haven't got that far technically yet. So I never know. I might do one day. But I've been hunting since about the '70s, and I kind of started in a weird way. Um, I used to live in Orlando. I grew up in Orlando, and I live in North Georgia now, but I grew up in Orlando and I worked for the city of Maitland over there. And I don't know if y'all remember, but Stu Auerbach had a little metal detector shop right there in downtown Maitland on Horatio Avenue, a little shack there. And that was I worked for the Parks Department, and that was our hangout place. When it got real hot and we were trying to look for some cool place to go, that's where we went. And I never metal detected or anything, but I had done some diving. And I was in there one day, and Stu, we started talking, and he said, "You need this little machine here." I said, "What do you got?" And he showed me this little machine, and he said it just came out, and that if I dove, that I could find it. Stu can make you believe that you could find anything underwater. And so he sold me this little machine. I didn't have the money to buy it, but he sold it to me on time. And I bought this little machine. This is it right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but
Yeah.
it was called a Treasure Ray. You can see the had one
Huh.
control on it, sensitive on and off, and then the sensitivity. And the reason he sold it to me at a discount, if you look, it has a little chip in the coil there. This is like a ceramic.
I'll be
And it has a
darned.
little chip in that coil, and he couldn't sell it as new, so he sold it to me on time. And I think I paid him $25 a week for a while on it. Anyway, that got me started. And that was back in the early 70s. So if a lot of you Central Florida guys would want to know why there's no silver coins laying around in those lakes over there, I got them all back then. I loaded up back in those days. I mean, back in the 70s, you were still digging, most of your coins were silver that you were finding back in those days. So
Yeah.
I had a really good collection, and I had them in a showcase in my house in Orlando there. And unfortunately, some kids broke in and decided they wanted it all more than me, so they took our pillowcases off our bed and just raked everything into our pillowcases and hauled it all out, and it was all gone. But anyway, that got me started. And when I was a little kid, I had an uncle that lived in Cocoa Beach that was a full bird colonel. He was retired then, but he knew some of those old Real 8 guys. I don't know which ones and all. This uncle of mine, he liked the bottle. He stayed loaded pretty much. And he would sit and tell us kids these stories about these shipwreck treasures down in, off the coast down there. And, we didn't pay much attention to him. But then when I started hanging out in Stu's shop, he started saying, oh, yeah, you can go over there and dig in 17, 15 sites. And I'm like, wait a minute, tell me about all this. So that lit the fire for me, on the 17, 15 fleet down there. But anyway, I hunted. I bought a Garrett Deep Seeker, and I hunted the beaches for a while. That didn't do very good on beaches. I could do okay in the dry sand and all. But then I moved to North Georgia, and I got up here. I started relic hunting. Got in with some guys and started, doing a lot of relic hunting and stuff. And anyway, I bought a CZ6, a Fisher CZ6, and
Hmm.
that machine had that salt mode on it. When I saw that salt mode, I got thinking about that beach again. I got, man, I'm gonna try this down there on the coast sometime. So anyway, long story short, I was sitting in a PTA meeting with my kids over there at the school, and it was before the meeting, and we were in this little room waiting, and the Weather Channel was playing on the TV, and I looked up, and I heard the word beach erosion, so that caught my ears. And so I started looking, and well, they were talking about the east coast of Florida. This was back, I think, in '94. I think it was Hurricane Gordon came up through there. It never really hit the east coast, but it kind of danced around and went off the west coast there. But it caused a lot of trouble over the east coast too. But anyway, I kept watching that, and I had a few days that I could spare, and I just jumped in my truck that night after I got out of that meeting, and I loaded my stuff up and headed for South Florida. I wanted to try that CZ on that beach. I couldn't wait to get down there. So I'd been relic hunting this machine a lot, and it done really good relic hunting. Well, I got down to the beach and drove all night. Got down there on in the morning, and I thought, well, I went and checked into the Holiday Inn there at Vero, and so I went and when I got there, and I couldn't even rest. I wanted to get on that beach so bad, so I just put my stuff in the room and took off out to the beach. Well, when I got out there, I always hunt with a small tone, a low tone going, and I kept hearing that tone breaking up, and I realized I was having trouble somewhere. I was losing my signals. I was losing something, and I traced it down. I thought it was my headphones, and so man, I was upset. I only had one chance to get down there and hunt and get out, and so I didn't know what to do. So I left the beach and went back to my room, got cleaned up a little bit, and I went to try to find somebody to look at those headphones, try to fix them. So I was driving up and down US 1 there, and I found a TV shop. So I went in there, and the guy, I took him my headphones. He said, yeah, he'd look at them. So, he took the plug off of them and resoldered everything, and did all that mess and charged me about $20, I think. And I left and went back to the beach, and I figured, well, I'm good now. So I went back, and I was just give out by that time. I'd driven all night, and by the time it was like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So I just went back to the room and just crashed for that night. So I figured I'd hit it hard in the morning. So I got up in the morning, and headed for the beach, and got everything going, everything got out there. Same thing. It was that same cutting out, machine acting up. I thought, my gosh, I've wasted this whole trip coming down here to Florida. And so then I got to fooling with it. And I don't know if you remember, I ever had a CZ, but when they came out, they had a little plug that your headphones didn't plug into the machine. It plugged into a little plug that was plugged into the machine or hooked into the machine. I don't know if you remember those or not. It's a little
Mm-hmm.
pigtail, about 3 inches long. Well, I traced it down to that thing being bad. That's what it was. I guess I'd relicut and jarred it or something and got it loose. But anyway, so I went in there and I called Fisher and I thought, man, maybe I can get Fisher to send me one. At least I can get one day something in. So I called Fisher and they were real great about it. They said, yeah, we'll send you one out and overnight. So they put one in overnight for me, and then I went back to the room and I got to thinking, well, shoot, there's a hurricane going. There ain't no flight's going to come in down here at this time, the hurricane. But anyway, sure enough, next morning there was a flight come in at about 9 o'clock. The UPS man was knocking on my room door there at the Holiday Inn, and he gave me a little package. And sure enough, I hooked it up and went to the beach and hunted all day, hunted my brains out, just trying to get something, and didn't do any good at all. And just give out, and went back to my room. I thought, well, I'll just go back here and go to sleep tonight. And I had to get back. I had a little small business in. I had payroll I had to make. I had to get back, and so I went back to the room and spent the night. Got up early in the morning, packed up my stuff, and was ready for another trip back home with no treasure, no nothing, like a lot of trips I've made to 17, 15 sites. But so anyway, I get in the truck and I go up A1A, and I'm heading up A1A. And I'm just cruising along thinking about, the next trip or whatever, and I get up there close to Turtle Trail or so, somewhere around in there. And I'm driving down the road and I notice this guy walking down the road. It's early in the morning. There's this guy walking down the road with a shovel on his head. He's got a big beard, as I get closer to him, he's facing me. He turns and goes up a path in the beach. And I looked at that guy and I said, I know that guy. I know who that guy is. And I thought, that's John Brandon, that famous treasure hunter guy. He ran a boat for Will Fisher there for years. And I said, what's he doing? He must be stuck or something, going with a shovel, And I think, wait a minute, that's John Brandon, the treasure hunter. I said, he might be going to the beach. So I went down there a few yards and I whipped around and went back to Turtle Trail. And, I was putting all this together in my head. There's a big strike out there somewhere. It had to be, he wouldn't be walking out there with a shovel. So anyway, I got back to Turtle Trail and I got my stuff all together. I couldn't hunt for long, but I was going to try to get some in. I went out on the beach and I looked south. There wasn't a soul, and I looked north, and there was probably 30 or 40 guys up there, or 40 people up several hundred yards to the north up that way, And so I figured, well, one more won't hurt. I don't like to jump a man's spot, but I drove a long way, and I wanted to try to find something. So I took off and started walking up through there. When I got up there, man, people were digging stuff. It was crazy. I guess some people were saying that the stuff was coming out of the dunes. Others were saying it was coming in from the water. I don't know where it was coming from, but it wasn't just a minute that CZ. I don't know if you ever use a CZ or not, but when you hit silver, it sounds like somebody stuck a crystal glass up to your ear and just tapped it with a spoon or something. It's just a real high ping when that goes off on silver. And I knew exactly what it was when I dug it. And sure enough, I dug it. The first one was a half real. These aren't very nice coins, but they represent a lot for me. But anyway, that's the first one there. I don't know if you can see the cross on it. But,
Yeah, I see it.
That's a half real that
That's
I got
cool.
there. Yeah, it wasn't just a few minutes there that I got another hit. Another guy dug an 8 there right while I was there, and then I dug this 1 real here right after that.
Oh, that's really nice.
Cross
Yeah,
on that.
that's cool.
Yeah, I got that one. That's my first, after years and years of hunting those wreck sites, and a lot of trips and all. I finally found 2. Boy, it was such a relief, finding those 2. And I found a lot of other stuff. I lived down in South Florida for a while, down around Pompano. And I don't know if you've ever read John Potter's book, The Treasure Diver's Guide.
No, I never have.
He talks about the 1641 fleet. And I've read some Bob Marks stuff too that related to that fleet. And they're saying that some of those ships they think might have come around Hillsborough Inlet there, down down around Pompano, and that's where I always beach hunted down there when I lived down there. I found a lot of stuff. Like I found these spikes and all. These
Right.
ships things, and just all kinds of these. Just tons of this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's wrecks there. And I
Well,
don't know if
when
you
you
can see
find
these
that,
all
you
these
think
these
you're onto something.
yeah, these are copper nails that came out of the sheeting, on some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a big old giant bronze keel pin that this come out of right there at Hillsborough Inlet, and off something. And then there's some, these rigging rings. I call these rigging rings. I don't know what they are, but I call them rigging rings.
That's what I'd call them.
Yeah. And one guy told me these were sail needles here. These little tiny brass things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see them or not.
Yeah, that's probably what they
Anyway,
are.
that's some of my stuff there. But anyway, it took me years and years and years, but I finally got me a 1715 coin. It took a while, and if I had to, I don't put value on my stuff I dig because it's far too valuable to me to ever sell to anybody or anything. I mean, I don't even look at it like that. It's the hunting it's about the fellowship and the history and the research and all that stuff that goes with it. That's what the payoff is.
Yeah, I
You get
agree.
these
That's it
trinkets and stuff to look
100%.
at, but the payoff is the people that go along with it.
Yeah,
But
and
anyway,
that's
that's
what
kind of my
we're
story.
looking at. We got a hunt scheduled for mid-November down there on the Treasure
Yeah,
Coast.
yeah, I
We're
was
going to be
just
hunting
listening
with
to that.
Terry, and we're looking to have a good time. Maybe
Yeah,
find us some reals.
yeah, I hope so. Hope you do.
Well, I hope we do too.
Yeah. Yeah, I love watching Terry's videos. He's a great hunter. I love to hang out with that guy.
He's a hoot, and
Yeah,
we're
I
going to
can
have a
imagine.
double hoot because we're going to have Captain Fizz with us too.
Yeah, yeah, I can
So
imagine that will be a time.
that's going to be a treasure tales for the books. Let me tell you,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, especially because we'll probably have a few drinks before the show.
yeah. That
You
coast.
know,
There's so much on there. People don't realize how much potential there is along that coast. I mean, there was, the people that lived there in the early. I just finished the book again, The Barefoot Mailman. Have you ever read that? I mean, that's a great
uh,
book. But it's about the beginnings of the coastal life along through there. And those people survived on shipwrecks. The reason Palm Beach is Palm Beach is from a shipwreck. There was no palm trees there before a shipwreck there with coconuts, and then the palm trees came. I mean, if you look at the history of it. And those people made their living by just stuff that washed in. And it's amazing what's down there on that coast.
yeah, it sure is. Well, why don't you? I think you are a member of Treasure Talk on Facebook, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Why don't you post some of those books on there so other people can find them? That would be
Sure,
great.
sure. Another great read that is I don't know. It's an old book. I don't even know if you can still get it, but it's Diving to a Flash of Gold by Marty Malak. Boy, if you're interested in the Keys stuff, that stuff down around there where Gar Fusmer is, that's a good book to read. That's from the
Hmm.
very beginning of the treasure diving days. It's when that started. Really, really good reading.
Well, I'm definitely wanting to read something. So if you can get
Yeah,
all that stuff posted,
sure. I'd be
um,
glad to.
I will definitely read it.
Be glad to.
And let me say hello to somebody here. Um, but that was great, Phil. And we certainly are happy that you decided to come on Treasure Tales. Those
Well, I'm glad to
fascinating
be here.
tales. And, it's just too bad that your hunt was interrupted because of one little thing, but it does happen.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Got to be
the
prepared.
nature of the brute, if you
I
will.
won't go back again without a backup machine. I can tell you
Yeah,
that
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Well, that's the women always say. My wife goes, "How come you need so many machines?" You never
There you
know.
go.
How
There
come
you
they need
go.
so many shoes? Hey,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, Philip,
Exactly.
I want to thank you so much for coming on. It
Well,
was a
thank you for
great,
having me.
great story from you, and we wish you all the best and keep on keeping on.
Oh, I will. I will definitely.
Thanks
You
a
guys
bunch,
take
man.
care.
Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye bye.
Oh, that was some good storytelling right there. While we got a minute, there's something that is going on with a really good uh, friend of Treasure Tales and Treasure Talk, and I know she won't mind me doing this. The Diggin' Canuck, her husband has some surgery today, some pre-dialysis surgery. So if you are so inclined for prayer, or if not, just send some good vibes here. Let's take a second and just be silent and send some good wishes and prayers, if you will, or good vibes to the Diggin' Canuck for Mr. Canuck to make sure everything has run smoothly, if you will. So let's just take a minute here and do that. So let's all wish our best. If um, send a message to the Diggin' Canuck, wishing her husband well, and um, make sure everything runs smoothly with them to make their lives a quality if we can. So let's just send good wishes and send her a note and let her know you're thinking of her. So we are going to bring on another young man that has got a lot of good stories, and so let's go ahead and get him on here. And he is Dan Uruso. So let's bring Dan on. Hello, Dan.
How you doing, Jeff?
Pretty good,
Good to
pretty
see you.
safe, my man.
Yeah, I've got quite a few stories. I started out treasure hunting back in around 1980, and I started like everybody else. You buy a machine, you go out, coin hunt. And I
Mm-hmm.
belonged to a club, and there was one member in this club that had every month he won the best jewelry contest. And I sat there and I said to myself, somebody's got to give that guy some competition. So I went out and got my dive license. Once I got my dive license, found out I couldn't dive with him, so I had to find somebody else to dive with who would take me to some spots. So I joined a dive club and found one guy that was interested in treasure hunt. So we went out, we bought four-wheel drives, a Zodiac 14-footer, Poseidon compressor, three-quarter mast, underwater communication system. We had the works, everything. We went out, we started hitting some of the local lakes and that, finding some jewelry. And the guy was giving the competition to was Gary Storm, owned Detective Pro. So I used to go to his store every Monday and show him the stuff we found. And he always say, "Where'd you find that?" We would never tell. It's, "Hey, you don't share your spots. We ain't sharing our spots."
That's right.
Well, I got to tell you what happened. And the story goes on. What happened was I had another friend that wanted to go treasure hunt with us, dive. So we asked him to come along, no problem. And it's the best move we ever made. He gave us the golden ticket, I call it. And that was his father had up in his attic this here, the Summer Resort Directory from 1922 for for all of New York State, all the New England states. And we lived up in the Hudson Valley, so we had all the Catskill Mountains and that to hunt, and there was tons of places. There was 80 pages, and this is just one of the pages of what it looked like, and it told us from 1922, told us how many people a day, who the proprietor was, if they were on water, if they had a sand beach, if they had electricity, and it was a gold mine.
Yeah.
We hardly scratched the surface of that in all our years of hunting up there. Found a lot of old gold and silver, and we never touched the land at all. We weren't interested in the silver. We were only interested in the water, looking for the gold.
Mm-hmm.
And I go into Gary's shop one day, bring in a bunch of gold, and he says to me, "I know where you guys are diving." I says, "How do you know that?" He says, "You won't believe this." He says, "I'm over in Europe," he says, "and we're staying at this location, and we go for breakfast in the morning, me and his wife, and there was a table that had another American English-speaking couple sitting there. So they said if they would like to sit with them, they said fine. As they're sitting with them, this Gary always mentions he's a treasure hunter, as I do, anybody I talk to. It turns out the woman says, oh, there's two guys up in the lake where I have a summer home. She was a TV reporter out of New York City. She says, yeah, these two guys come up every weekend. They're diving our lake and looking for treasures. So Gary comes in. He's got the name of the lake now. And he says, you guys been hunting at such a lake? I said, how the hell did you know that? And he told me the story. But I'll tell you another funny one, though. Being a water hunter and that, right? I started reading about the 1715 fleet and all that. And I says, I got to take a trip to Florida one of these years just to get down and hunt the beaches. So I'm down there in Vero Beach, and I'm walking along the beach with my metal detector swinging along. And I see this treasure ship out there. And it's got the mailboxes, and I see they're blowing. And it's right offshore. I mean, not that far offshore at all. And the diver comes back up, and he looks over at me, and he sees me swinging that detector, and he's yelling to me, come on out, come on out. He says, swim and follow the lines. It's had 3 lines out, anchor line and 2 other lines coming off it. So I went out there. It turns out it was the guy that I bought a map from to show me what beaches to go to, Roy Volker. This is 1984. So Roy, I spent the day on the ship with Roy, and here's pictures of myself and Roy Volker with pieces of bait and cobs and all that from that day of hunting. And then he invited me the following year to come down for a week, me and my buddy, to dive. And he said we could work the after they blew the hole and he went down in it, we would work the edges for the lighter stuff. That whole week, the weather was terrible and we never got the opportunity. But the biggest treasure tale, okay, I worked in the Bronx and I worked for the phone company. And the department I was in, we dealt a lot with money with the coin phones and that. So we were constantly audited and that to make sure that we were honest and turned in the coins in that were jammed in the phones and that. And I got promoted and moved on to a installation and repair group. And one of the guys I worked with, he went to another district in the installation and repair. And I never saw him again. 30 years later, I'm in a restaurant in upstate New York. I sit across and I see this guy. I said, damn, he looks familiar. And I see the guy looking at me. So I said to the waitress, ask that guy if his name is, and I mentioned the name. I don't want to mention his name here, but she comes back, she says, yeah. And the next thing I know, he's waving me over, introduces me to his wife. And I always mention about treasure hunting. And his wife says, tell Dan about the treasure in the Bronx. And he says, well, yeah, okay, I'll tell you. He had gone to an apartment building to put a new line in. The apartment was vacant. And in these old buildings where they had in the closets, they had like a double wall where you could stick your hand down and the riser cables come up through there. And so he had to splice into it and he had to get some slack, pull some slack up out of that cable. As he's pulling up, puts his hand down there, he feels an envelope. He said, what? And he pulls this big envelope out, he says, and it had a name on it, which wasn't the name of the party he was putting the phone in for. He opens it up and it's loaded with these. He said there were $100 bills, but he says, I never seen any of them like it. They were different than our $100 bills today, but they were US $100 bills. I said, well, what'd you do? He says, I put it back down in the wall. He says, I thought the company was checking up on me and they planted the money. So I said, no, this is 30 years later. So he still remembered the apartment, the address down in the Bronx. So I said, I got to take a ride to the Bronx. I'll knock on the door and I'll make a deal with whoever lives there to share a treasure that I think may be in this place. So I go there. The whole building had been refurbished. So there was no longer where you could get down into the wall. But
well, somebody probably found it.
Somebody probably, or when they demolished it. Yeah, who knows. Yeah. But yeah, and then I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Connecticut and I'm hunting this beach in Connecticut. It's a very well-to-do area. And I find and when you look at the beach and you're looking out over Long Island Sound from Connecticut, on the left-hand side of the beach there were these big rocks. And I go over by these rocks and I find, at low tide, and I find a gold ring that had matter of fact, I'll show you a picture of it. But that's the gold ring. It had black onyx with a tree imprinted in it with some words in Latin underneath it. So eventually I looked it up, and it was a very exclusive school in Greenwich, Connecticut. So got a hold of the school. It was from 1952 and it had initials in it on the inside. They contacted the woman who had lost that ring, and she was so happy and asked me to send it back to her, and I sent it back to her. And her story was that she had gone with her grandparents on a yacht over to Long Island and went swimming in a couple beaches over there and lost that gold ring. Now, I found that ring in Connecticut at Todd Beach, which is a good 20 miles across the sound. There's no way a fish or anything could have picked that ring up and deposited it back on our beach. And what I think was happened was, and you got to remember now, this woman's probably in her 80s, right? I think she was down at that beach with her boyfriend that she wasn't supposed to be with, lost that gold ring, right? And used the story that she was over in Long Island and lost it at one of them beaches over there. But I thought,
probably.
Yep.
You never know. You just never know.
I've had a lot of great experiences though treasure hunting. I belong to a great group of guys. We call ourselves Club Corn. There's 14 of us from all different states. We get together, 3-4 times a year, 5 times a year. And I was fortunate enough in 2015 to be on the Discovery Channel on a TV show called Rebel Gold. We filmed 9 shows. They showed 4 shows, and we had Friday night, 10 o'clock on the Discovery Channel. And right after that show, the 4th show, I believe, is when the kid in Charleston, South Carolina, killed the 9 black people in the church down there, and he had the rebel flag with him, and that killed our TV show, because our TV show was Rebel Gold, and it was all about following the Confederate gold from Richmond down into Georgia, and it was a great history lesson on that, but unfortunately they canceled the show.
Yeah, well, that happens. You never know what's going to come and deal you a bad hand. But what detectors are you using now?
Now I sold. I'll tell you, I sold my X-Cal. I sold my 3030. I sold my GPX 4500. I got money sitting on the side waiting for that Fisher AQ because I live in Myrtle Beach, and I've got 45 miles of beach to hunt, and we get sanded in a lot, and that's the machine I'm waiting for. But I do have a Knox that I work at the beach now.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to wait till after I get mine, because I'm number one on the list for that AQ. And I just talked to him a little while ago, and maybe I'll have it before I go to the Treasure Coast.
Yeah, I think it's the chips that are hanging them up. There's a chip shortage out there.
No, that's not it. It's they had a little power surge problem, and they're working on that. A lot of other problems that they're having, and is they've got a lot of parts and stuff for like all the pinpointers and stuff sitting in container ships in Los Angeles so they can't get offloaded.
Yeah, that's Yeah, I saw that on the news. All them container ships sitting out there.
Yeah,
but that machine sounds like it's going to be the cat's meow at the beach.
Yeah, well, I've had in-depth conversations with Joe Beechnut about it, and he was testing one out. And fortunately for me, Russ is a good friend of mine, and he says I'm going to love it, and I've used it a little bit on the beach. So I'm looking forward to getting it, and I'm ready. I told him I got the money burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah, you and me both.
Well, Dan, I certainly appreciate you coming on tonight. You had some great stories, and I know there's with the AQ, there's me, and then there's another good friend of ours, Rick Tumbleton's waiting. And if you get on the list, as soon as it's ready, you'll get her.
Oh yeah. All right.
Thank you for stopping by. It was great to listen to your stories. I think everybody enjoyed them, and you'll have to come back again soon.
All right. Enjoy your show. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was some good stories. I mean, he's got some great stories on there, and he is right about one thing. I'm waiting on that Impulse AQ, and hopefully it will be here shortly. Want to say hello to Lisa P. How are you, Lisa P? You are wondrous. Well, I'm still waiting for you to come on. Casey, the Key Date Kid, you are magnificent, man. That shovel is a killer. Drum Detect, how are you? Let's see about some more people that came by. Mark Friarella, hello, dude. How are you? Uh, so we've got one more, and we always kind of save the best for last, to me anyway. And they're all fantastic, but I saved her for the last. You've seen her before, and she's so accomplished, such a great hunter, very articulate, so knowledgeable, and one of the best. If you remember when we had that, the show on Treasure Talk, we kicked it up notches, unknown to mankind. We had three. We were lucky. We had three of the top women detectors in the world. We had the Digging Canuck, we had the Mermaid Treasure Hunter, and we had this girl right here. Here's Lori Gagne, Relic Dirty Hands. Hello there, Lori.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's
So,
awesome.
how's everything up there in Canada, Miss Large Scent?
Everything is, it was just a fantastic day. I mean, I'm still glowing from my hunt today. I never get out for a midweek hunt, and I did today. So it was just, I pulled out 4 large cents and a big silver quarter. So that was
Oh,
awesome.
that's cool.
Yeah. And you were just mentioning a little bit of accomplishments, and I have to show this to you. I'm not sure if you had seen this. This is
Yeah.
um, a Quebec school book. So they teach kids with these books, and they contacted me, and they asked me to create kind of like an educational video, where the kids will have to answer questions to. So
Mhm.
it's been published, and right now it's so basically all Quebec all Quebec kids are going to be learning about metal detecting in secondary 2 this year. So really exciting. They all get to see my video and then answer some questions about treasure and what kind of treasures would you like, or to find and all sorts of stuff. So that was a big accomplishment. I was pretty excited about that. So I thought I'd share.
Well, heck yeah, you need to send me your autograph. And you say, so, because I
Yeah,
know
and
you win. Now
I
you're
wish
an
I wish I
excited.
had it open to the page, but it even has Eric and Lori, and when you see Eric and Lori and you see your own names in a textbook, I'm just like,
I know, it's awesome.
that
So
was pretty
you got to
that
get me
was
your
pretty
autograph. So, just for once you're the multi-million dollar author and stuff, I can say, I know her. See, she said hello to me.
oh, jeez. Well, the treasure trail that I'd like to share today was actually one of my best hunts that I've ever had. Like this was absolutely everything about this hunt was very unusual. And if people know, I'm from Canada, Quebec, Canada, and in January we're frozen over. We're usually frozen over by November, December.
Hmm.
But in January, a friend of mine had given us a call, and he had said, "Oh my goodness, they just lowered all the water on the St. Lawrence."
Oh,
Now, on the St. Lawrence, before they flooded to make the passageway and the seaway, um, there was villages there, and in the 1950s, they all got flooded. So he said, "We have such a crazy opportunity right now." He goes, "There's ground that is exposed. We got to go. It's never been this low before." So I was like, "Oh my God, you want me to go outside?" I just want to stay bundled up inside. So I wore layers on top of layers on top of layers, and we headed out down to the St. Lawrence. And to my surprise, the water was all really low. And we had an amazing hunt. It was, things were just, it was, okay. Okay, I'll just get right to it. I was swinging along, and I had gotten, right on the surface, like a solid signal right on the surface. And I looked down, and right there on the surface was a Vexador canadiensis, they call it. I have it right here, and let's see. Oh gosh, this is really messed up. There we go.
there you go. Yeah.
So that's on one side. And
Mm-hmm.
on the other side, it looks like so. So
That's
it definitely
cool.
was never a coin I had ever seen before. And this is called a Vexador Canadiensis. And it's basically a counterfeit that was made. And there's only about 403 to 400 known. So it's a very, very rare coin.
Wow.
The moment I posted it, I had already an offer for about $650 to purchase it. But then quickly I realized it was worth twice the amount.
Oh, yeah, easy.
So I'll never sell it. It's just such a very rare coin. And on it, it would say Vexador Canadiensis. And the Vexador, hopefully I'm not going to mess this up. Vexador stood for Tormentor of Canada.
Oh,
And
really?
Venador stands for Trapper of Canada. So they purposely made the X to look as an N. Just so this way, I mean, it was quite the joke, Tormentor of
Mm-hmm.
Canada, and or Trapper of Canada. So this way, if they're caught with it, they say, no, this was to trade. So this is to trade with the natives, trappers, natives. So this is
Uh-huh.
how they got away with it, but they were actually using it as change. So that was really, really wild. And that was found right on the surface. So the water went down. It was literally stuck to the ground, like with the ice. There was probably, I probably have to go through this much ice. The sand would just lift up just like a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard. It just lifted up. And then by the end of the day, I had gotten it was so cold, okay, that my pinpointer had a thick, thick amount of sand and ice build up. Like I never saw my pinpointer so thick before. The ice was just freezing to my pinpointer. So by the end, I'm cold, I'm getting a little lazy, I'm like, oh, this is, and I get this signal, and it was such a small little blip of something, and I just called Matt over, and I'm like, Matt, with your CTX, check this out. Can you tell me what is this? What am I hearing? Should I even dig it? And he turns around and says, yeah, I can hear something. And he bends over and he wipes his finger. And all you could see is the thin little, over here, thin little edge sticking out. Well, I pulled it out. It was like kind of jammed between two rocks like this. And it was just the very thin edge. So I pry away and I pull it out. And we ended up with a shako plate.
Wow, that's
Now,
cool.
what is so incredible is it's the Christianisted Burger Artillery Company. This company was from St. Croix Island, and it was a slave trading company at the time. So it was all about the slave trade. This actually put me down a foxhole of research. I never learned so much about that. I was absolutely just engulfed with the history of it all. But that was a big surprise to me, a really big surprise to me. I'm like, why was it there? How did it end up there? And
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever find out why, and why it was there. But it is pretty cool. Is that Shako plate? That's like one of my
Yeah, that's
favorites.
really cool. And look at the condition it's in.
It's beautiful.
You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely beautiful. The things that are found under the water, I always find that water finds, they always come out so beautifully. And even my Canadiensis coin, the condition it's in
Hmm.
really great condition because they were made to look worn. And the ones that I saw online, mine is definitely in better conditions.
Okay, now you're talking the St. Lawrence Seaway, right? Now
Yeah,
that is that brackish freshwater or is that salt?
that's fresh water.
That's why they're coming out so good. It's like the things on the Great Lakes. The stuff they find in the Great Lakes is perfectly preserved down there because it's
Yeah.
so cold. And see, in the salt, it just eats everything up. You
Well,
know,
that's it.
you
So
know.
everything is just came out beautifully. I mean, like I didn't really do anything. I think you could still see some dirt on the corner right here.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
still a bit of dirt there. I can't even see. But I mean, it came out this way. They just came out beautiful, just beautiful. So that was
Yeah.
like two of the most incredible hunts, two incredible finds on one of the coldest hunts that I have ever done. Like the wind would cut through you, it just cuts right through you. And I don't know if I'll ever have an opportunity like that again, but man, it was
You
exciting.
never know. And that's the thing. You take the opportunities when you can get them.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and you and Eric have just done you're such great ambassadors for metal detecting. I mean, if your reputations weren't sterling, the Quebec school system wouldn't have asked you to do that. Now that's really quite an honor, I think.
I
You know.
was I was shocked when I had received the email and that they were interested in doing this, and they said that they wanted to use and help local YouTubers and stuff like this as well, and actually start incorporating them into these. So basically, it's this one here was for English as a second language
Hmm.
because Quebec they all speak French.
Right.
So this was for the second language. So it's for their English classes in the Quebec side and that sort of stuff, which I had to try to simplify a lot of what I was saying and some of the terms. And I had submitted my whole sketch up of the video and everything else, and it came back approved with flying colors. Only a few things that are like, okay, we'll have to change the way this is. I'm not too sure if they'll understand that because I had to explain how a metal detector works.
Yeah,
So I
they
had
may
to,
not.
yeah, so there's a few things I had to change, but besides that, it went pretty good. And I submitted in the video, and they're like, perfect. And it's like I didn't have to change anything. Everything was great. So that was it. That was a lot of pressure, though. That was like kind of my first commissioned, my one of my first true commissioned videos. So there was a lot of pressure. It took me probably about 5 weeks to get it done.
Hmm.
But it was a lot of fun. So we basically covered how a metal detector works. Also the different things that you need, the handheld digging tools. We cover permissions on always asking permission for everywhere you go, all that sort of stuff. And in the book, we also got to share some of our favorite finds, and my Canadiensis and my Shako plate are both they're both in there. And one of the questions they asked was, you know, where does the Shako plate go on a
Hmm.
uniform? So, because in my video, we say how it's the Shako plate, and I placed it on a hat to kind of show them what it would have looked like and that sort of stuff. So that was one of their questions. So that was really exciting. It's
Yeah, they
like
have some really cool.
I can't believe it.
They have some really cool questions. Now, Lori, excuse me, is there any way we could get any copies of that to maybe share here in the States?
Um, Possibly. I went to our local store to try to buy one, and they didn't have them. With school starting in September,
Right.
Um, so I contacted them, and they were able to send me a copy. But I can take a look online to see if maybe they have them for sale too online. And it's cool. I have the video that goes with it. So they didn't want me to publish the video. I guess maybe not, so no one could do the work in advance or anything.
Right, right,
So
yeah.
the video that goes along with it is not published, but all the teachers will play that video for them, and so all the teachers have the link and that video, and then they answer the questions afterwards. So it's
Well, that's really cool.
I'm so
I mean, to
excited
me,
because
that's
I
something
love.
that's fantastic. And if there's a way we could get a hold of that, and just let me know.
Okay,
And
I will.
because I'm sure there's some people that would love to be able to utilize that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just fantastic. It's a fantastic achievement. One of the greatest things I've ever seen. So
Yeah, I have it right there with the a few articles that I've read. So I have all my little books, and the articles are starting to pile up, and so it's pretty exciting. For somebody also with myself, I had suffered with attention deficit disorder and possibly dyslexia. I don't know. So it was very hard for me growing up actually writing articles. And today,
mhm.
now, I can't get enough of it. I'm like, I can write pages and pages and pages. And I'm like, so
Well, see,
that,
that's something that, talking earlier about our group, the Blue Spade Society, that would qualify as, to join the Blue Spade Society.
Yep.
So if you wouldn't mind, if you do anything with Facebook, join the Blue Spade Society. You could be an
Okay.
inspiration to so many people.
Okay.
Really.
Check it out.
And join up with our mentorship program, because I'm sure there's a bunch of people that would just jump at the chance to be able
Yeah.
to ask you some questions.
I definitely, that's what I think. You know what we have to do sometime? You need to get me on and let's just do an Equinox, the Mind Lab Equinox open questions. Let's go. Let's pick my brain. Ask me the hardest questions. Let's do it. I would
Okay.
love a show like that. I have so many tricks that I've been learning over time with this detector that I've been helping a lot of people. I tutor a lot of people. People send me messages all the time, and I'm helping them out. And I'd love to actually share. I thought about doing a live feed at one point myself. I just don't have the setup and everything else to
Hmm.
be able to do it. But if you're ever interested, we could do like a
I'm
full knock.
interested. I'm interested.
We could do a
I
full
will be in
knock,
touch with you, and I'm going
and
to
I've
hold
got
your feet to the fire on this.
yeah. I've got some tricks up my sleeve. I got some tricks up my sleeve on for the Equinox, how to stabilize it and all that sort of stuff, and what a difference it makes when you finally get that baby stable there. It's like sweet.
That's something we're going to do. I'll start tomorrow planning, because you know me, I'm a planner.
Yes, you're good
And
at that. I'm
and
so
I'm not shy about getting up with you and say, Lori, let's do this.
and usually I'm not a planner. I'm very spontaneous, but when you say plan, all right, I have one thing marked in my calendar now. I'm like, usually I'm
I will make it,
spontaneous.
I will make it happen. And
All right.
that's going to be a bell ringer. Let me
I
tell
think it'd be
you.
a lot of fun. I'm up for the challenge. I really am. I'm up for the challenging questions and the struggles people have or had. And I just want to help. I want to help people get over some of the learning curves, some of the struggles, things that they don't fully understand, because this is a powerful and amazing machine. And the more I can help people really, master that machine, the more fun they're going to have, and the more fines and a lot more fun.
Are you going to do a book about it?
Oh,
See?
quite a few people have written a book, but if I was to write a book, it'd be a little different, I think. I think it'd
I
be,
would think, well, just because somebody else wrote a book, maybe they didn't write as good a book as you're going to write.
well, that's the thing, because all the books that I've read never had the answers to my questions, which was found so frustrating. I was like, oh.
Well, I tell you what, you need to write a book and you need to let me know, because I promise you that Phil will stock them in the shop and we will advertise them all over Treasure Talk and Treasure Tales,
Hmm.
and it will be a bestseller. I promise you that. So,
I may have
you
to
know,
add that to my list of possibilities of things
that's right.
I'd like to do.
That's right. That's right.
I just
When you're
I just
frozen
wouldn't
out, that's when you do it.
I just wouldn't even know where to start. I mean, I know where to probably I would start writing in the book, but I just wouldn't know how to publish or print it or
Well,
I
I
don't
tell you what we'll do. I will get with you and we'll do a three-way conversation uh, on with Terry Shannon, who's done about 3 books,
okay,
and he can help you out with that. So why don't we get that planned here in the future? Because I
okay,
think your book would be an absolute killer.
thanks.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll get her done.
that would be really cool. I would love to talk to him. Yes.
Yep, we'll get that done. I'll get it set up. He's
Yeah.
transitioning now. He'll be back down and on the Treasure Coast here in a few days, about a week. He's
Okay.
going back to Treasure Coast from Minnesota. We got a thing set up in mid-November, but we'll talk before that, and I'll get set up with Terry, and you guys can just kind of chit chat and get you set up and ready to go, because that could be a killer book. I'm telling you, it'd be great.
Good. I definitely would like to cover all the questions that I had in the beginning that I couldn't get my answers for. So
Right? And there's a lot of people that have the same questions and can't find the answers. So
I'm sure.
that's a good idea. Let's do that, shall we?
Sounds awesome.
Good, good, good. Well, Lori, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to come on with us tonight. Everybody loves you, as they should. Anybody
Thank
that
you.
wants to know anything about the Equinox or the Coiltech coils or anything like that, all they got to do is wait till you get your book out and then buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, here I am giving all this, everything away. I'm like,
Well, all
I'd
that
probably have a hard time. I'd
they,
probably give
they
all the
can't
books away.
remember. They got to have it in a book so they can go back to it. That's the
That's what's
key right there.
great. That's
Yep.
what's great. I love today's technology, but there's nothing better than having a book in your hand.
That's
Honestly, I
right.
have my maps, I have my atlases and for research and everything, and I need the atlas. Like it's okay to look online, same information there, but there's just something about having it right in your face, right there. I don't
Yep.
know. I might be old
Yep.
fashioned, but
Well, that gives us something to work on here, and I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on this too. You
you
know
bet
I will.
I'm up for it. I
Okay.
want it.
Okay. Sounds like a plan to me. So
Sounds
I
awesome.
will be getting up with you soon to get a conference call set up with Terry, and then we'll work on getting a Mind Lab Equinox show with Lori Relic Dirty Hands. So that's going to be a killer there. So it
I
may
think so.
come
And
coming sooner than
everybody
what
come
you think.
everybody write down your questions, any questions that you have, any struggles that you have that you're struggling with, and I'll definitely try my best. I hope to have all the answers. I'm very imperfect, so but I'll try my best.
I think you're pretty perfect.
I don't know. I'm imperfectly perfect.
That's right. That's all we need. Okay, kiddo, it's time for us to
Okay.
go, but I will be in contact with you soon. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wealth of knowledge and your stories with everybody tonight. They love you.
Okay.
Take care, kiddo.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Now we got some stuff going on now. I know I'm running a little bit over tonight, but when you got good stuff going like that, you got to go, you know, go with the flow and take care of it. So there's a couple of things happening there that I think is going to be really good because the Equinox is a very, very, very popular detector, and she's really good at it and good with it. So worth your time. You can get a book published. That'll be even better. So I want to say um, thanks to everybody that was on tonight. Phil Faircloth, great, great stories. I appreciate it so much. You did fantastic. Dan Russo, same thing. Great, great, great stories. Now, of course, Lori, what can we say? Lori is just, as good as it gets. Thank you all for watching tonight. And, just if you want to be on Treasure Tales, get up with me. You see my telephone number down there. You can text me. You can email me at treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. You can Facebook Messenger me. However, get up with me and let's get you scheduled to be on Treasure Tales because what you have to say is just as important and interesting as what anybody else has to say. So that being said, we'll see you Monday night for Treasure Talk. We're giving away a Fisher F44 detector Monday night on Treasure Talk. And our guest is going to be Charlie from Stealth Diggers and Not Thursday. Now, how good is that? That's going to be killer. So I'm going to put a post up tomorrow for questions on Treasure Talk, and I'll do one on YouTube for questions for Charlie for that show. And let's get your question listened so we can get them asked. And we will see you Monday night, right at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for Treasure Talk. Phil and I. See ya. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.